Good afternoon. My name is Suzette, and I will be your conference operator today. At this time, I would like to welcome everyone to the CA Harvest Community Webcast. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question-and-answer session. If you would like to ask a question during this time, simply press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press the pound key. Thank you. I will now turn the call over to Mary Greening. Please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. This is Mary Greening. I'm the CA Community Manager for the CA Harvest Global User Community. Welcome to today's webcast. Our topic is ensuring successful user adoption with CA PA, which is CA Productivity Accelerator, and CA Harvest. Neil Kalmus was unable to make it today, but we also wanted to announce that Neil has resigned as the board president. He has moved on to other areas in his work, and we are welcoming Dave Kohlhoff today. He is from American Family. He lives in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, and he will be your new board president. He might be on the call, I'm not sure, but he's not in the speaker subconference, so he will be unable to make some comments at this moment. But going forward, Dave will be welcoming the webcasts and opening up webcasts. Welcome, Dave. Today, our speaker is Melissa Fundanish. She will be presenting our topic. Rose Sackich, the product manager, is also on the line with us today, and she'll be making some remarks after Melissa's presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to Melissa.
Great. Thank you. And can you also provide me with, thank you very much. Well, welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for your time today. My name is Melissa Fundanish, and I work in the CA Education Organization. My specialty is user adoption and our user adoption product, which we call the CA Productivity Accelerator. We have customers that use this for user adoption and for documenting processes and procedures with their CA applications. So we're going to spend a few minutes today talking about what it is and what it can do with the CA Harvest product. So as a start, I want to provide you with an overview of what CA Productivity Accelerator, or what we call CAPA as short, is. CAPA is a content development platform, and it can be used for capturing, documenting, and disseminating Harvest knowledge. So think of it as a single source of truth for all your materials. Here's one place that you can capture your system processes. So what are the steps you take in the system, your business processes, what are the steps that surround what you do in the system in your business process that you want your users to be familiar with, and then any subject matter expert that you want to capture. All of that you capture in this single source, and then you can publish that content out any way you need, whether it's documentation, training materials for your users, or support materials for your users. This helps reduce the time and resources needed to create materials because you're creating them all in one content development platform. It can help shorten the onboarding time for new users and existing users because you are able to train them and support them in the live production environment. And it makes it maintainable not only when you implement the solution, but as you go through enhancements and upgrades, you're only going back to one single source of truth to make your updates and then publish out all those materials that you need. So what are all those different types of materials you can publish out? Well, first of all, what you would do is capture what your processes and procedures are, and I'm going to demonstrate that today to give you a feel for how that process works. And once you create that content or capture it, you can then publish it out as documentation and as training materials and production support materials. For training materials, you can publish out role-based, web-based training, so your users can consume them as simulations, which we call the See It mode, practice simulations, which we call the Try It mode, assessments, if you like to test their knowledge before you give them access to an application, we call that the Know It mode, and job aids. and that we call the print it mode. So you can publish out any or all of those depending on your learners or users' learning style. I had one customer tell me, I like to publish out or print out the job aids and then go through the simulations and take notes on the job aids. That's the best way for me to learn. You can also publish this content out as student and instructor manuals and or PowerPoint presentation materials. And sometimes what we'll see customers do is use the PowerPoint materials for their upgrade meetings. So when they get to FitGap meetings and start talking about what do we want to do in terms of enhancements or upgrades, they'll publish out the presentation materials in CAPA because that's how the system works today, and then they go through the meetings to talk about what they want to change for these enhancements and upgrades. So another way to use those materials. Now, once we train our users, we also want to support them after we go live, because what we find statistics telling us is that when you learn something, if you don't apply it within 2 weeks, you lose about 70% of that knowledge. So we not only want to train them, but we want to support them. And one of the outputs that you can publish with CAPA is called the application coach, and that too can be role-based. And what we mean by role-based is the user has the ability to go and choose their role and filter all the content so they only see what they need for their role. We call the application coach the do it mode. And it sits on top of the application and walks the user through that activity step by step. And this is a really powerful part of CAPA because it's great to train your users when you go live, but when they're in the production application and they're doing a specific activity, they need an answer to a question right now in the middle of a process. And they don't want to have to go back to a training guide or go back to web-based training or ask a colleague or call the help desk. They want the answer right there. So they can bring up CAPA, and this cue card or this application coach sits on top of the application and walks them through that activity step by step. So it makes it really easy for them to get the answer that they need. Now, if you want to make available the training there, you can. So the see it, the try it, the know it, and the print it modes can all show up when they bring that up. So they can take any just-in-time training that they need to. And then, of course, there are knowledge documents that you can publish and give to your help desk if you have to give your help desk knowledge documents for their knowledge repository. And again, all of these different outputs are created from one single authoring session. So I create or capture or author my content once, and then I publish it any of these ways that I need it. So it's maintainable not only for the initial implementation, but any time I get to enhancements or upgrades. So let me give you a look at what all of this looks like. I'll start by showing you from an end user perspective. So let's start by showing you how an end user would interact with this content if they were starting to learn CA Harvest in your environment. So what you're looking at on the screen now is the web-based training. I mentioned that it can be role-based, so you can set up roles. So when a user goes in, they can click on the My Roles link up here on the left-hand corner, choose their role, and then the content would be filtered by that role. Now, I only have one piece of content in here, so you see one activity, but imagine, if you will, a list of all the activities that that role would need to complete, and they're seeing only what they need. And then, of course, you have all the modes over here that they can go into. So they can go into the see it mode, which is a simulation, the try it mode, which is a practice simulation, the know it mode, which is the assessment, the do it mode, which is the coach, the application coach, and the print it mode, which is a job aid. So if we go into the see it mode, your users are going to go in and be able to see how this activity needs to be completed. I know you can't see me, but my hands are off the keyboard, and this simply walks us through the activity. So for those who like to learn by seeing, this is a great way for them to be able to consume the material. Now, of course, we have users who are hands-on. They want to try it themselves. So instead of going into the see it, or maybe after the see it, they want to go in and try it themselves, they can click on the try it mode. And this walks them through it step by step, but this time they're doing it. So it looks the same, only they're interacting. So they click on Start, they click on Project and Package. They're getting an overview of this page and this activity. So it allows them to interact with that activity and do it themselves. If you want to test their knowledge before you give them access to the system, you can have them go into the Know It mode. Here you can set a scoring threshold. When the user clicks on Start, you'll notice the bubble doesn't tell them what to do. They need to know what to do. Now, if they don't know what to do, they can click on Show Step, and it'll say if you choose to see this step, it will be graded as incorrect. Do you want to see this step? If they say no and they want to guess, if they guess wrong, it'll say the action you've performed is incorrect. Please try again. If they try again to answer and they get it wrong, it'll tell them what to do. If they ignore that and get it wrong again, notice it will highlight the field. And the last time you get it wrong, it finally says, hey, you know what, just click on OK and let me show you. Now you can decide whether you want to give them 1, 2, 3, or 4 tries. And at the end, they'll be marked wrong only once for that step. At the end, they can see their score. They can print out their score. The web-based training can be loaded to a learning management system. So if you have an LMS where you go to take training in your organization, the CAPA web-based training can be loaded there, and then your users can take their training, take the assessments, and you can run reports off of for completion rates and assessment scores if you like. Now, I'm going to skip the Do It mode because I'm going to show you that as performance support. So I'm going to show you the Print It mode now, which is just a simple job aid. So it's a cheat sheet that shows you all the steps you need to take. So for those users who like to have that piece of paper in their hand, this is a great way for them to learn. So we're hitting all those different learning styles by creating that content once. The other way we talked about being able to publish that content is as a guide, a training guide. So maybe you want to give your users a training guide, and you can publish it out in that format. And the training guide has a title page, it has your table of contents, and then it goes in and shows you page shots and what's called a step action table. The step action table tells you all the steps you need to take for this particular page, and then you'll see that format all the way through the guide. You have the ability to change the look and feel of these guides. They're all in Word template format, so you can put in your logo, you can change the coloring, the font, the way things lay out on the page, whatever makes sense for your organization. I also mentioned that you could publish this content as PowerPoint. So here's a look at the same content as PowerPoint materials. Each page will show you a page shot and the steps related to that page. Some folks use this for training, and other customers we see will use this when they start going through meetings to talk about enhancements and upgrades. Here's what we do today. Let's talk about how we're going to change that in the future. So just another way to consume that material. Now, once we train our users before we go live, of course, we want to support them when we're live in the system, and that's where the Do It mode comes in. Now, when I click on that, it brings up a cue card that can then sit on top of my production application. So I can make CAPA available via, I can put the CAPA web-based training on a web server, give my users access via a URL, and when they bring up CAPA and click on the Do It mode, this is what comes up. And so this can walk them through that activity with the production environment in the background. In the top box, it'll tell them what they need to do, and in the bottom box, it will show them a simulated page shot of the same page that they're seeing in the production environment. So as I click on this arrow, it says the first step I need to take is to click on projects. And so I can do that in the production environment and then keep clicking through this application coach, and it'll walk me through each step. So instead of having to go back to a training guide or web-based training or bother a neighbor, I can get the help that I need just by bringing up the application coach for CAPA. So that gives you a look at some of those materials that you can create using CAPA what I'm going to do now actually is I'm going to take you into the content developer so you can see how we actually create some of that content. So you can see how easy it is to create it and then publish it out in all those ways that I just showed you. So where we are right now is in the CAPA developer, and you'll notice that in here I have my lone activity that I've created. So let's say we want to create this activity. And so what I can do is create a new topic and name it. We'll call it Navigate the Overview Page. And then to start my recording, I click on this little camera icon. It opens up my recording technology. Now I need an environment. And here I'm going to use the Software Change Manager, the Harvest environment. My recorder sits on top. And there's two ways to record with CAPA. One is manual record. So every step I take, I'm going to manually record this. The other way is automatic recording, which means every step I take, it automatically records that. So whatever you feel most comfortable with. I like to manually record because I want to make sure that the pages are clean and there's no pop-ups that come up, and that if I need to go off into a different direction to check something before I finish an activity, I can do that without recording every single step. So here, I'm going to go ahead and just capture this page. So that's my start page. And you'll notice in the recorder it says last recorded event is a start screen. So I know I've captured that page. Now if we're doing an overview, what I want to do is just click on each of these headings and provide some information about each one to start with. So I'm going to click on each one and I'm going to capture each of those steps. And you'll notice as I capture each step, it says in the next screenshot records, it says what I'm going to capture. After I capture it, it now falls into the last recorded event. So I know exactly where I am if I have to go off and do something else and then come back. So if I click on each of these to capture them as an overview, and the other thing I can do if I make a mistake is I can go back. So there's an undo button. I could go back one step or multiple steps, whatever I need to do. Once I capture my steps, I can click on the Finish button. That's going to launch me back into the CAPA developer and show me what we've created. Now we're looking at this from a content development perspective. It's not yet ready for user consumption. We want to see maybe how we want to add, enhance, and modify the content that we've just recorded. Let me walk you through what we have first, and then I'll go back and show you how we can add to this content. So it's captured my overview page, it's captured the bubble, and it's put in my title. The first step that I took was to click the projects link, so it captured that. Then I clicked the package link, so it captured that. And you'll notice it's putting in the bubble each time, and it's putting in the text for me. So it's captured each of these steps for me all the way through this process. Now, I may want to go back and add information to make this instructionally sound and to add information about each of those pages. So maybe in this first page, what I just did is I opened up some tools that I have to make changes, which are called frame properties. Maybe I want to put in an introduction. So in this activity, you will learn, and then I'll put in what my objective is. And on this page, we have them click on the projects link, and then maybe I want to just tell them, give them some information about this. I can either type it right here to work with projects, you will first, and then maybe I want to continue this sentence by bringing in the content that's there. And so now I have a sentence in here that kind of gives them an overview. To work with projects, you will first click, I forgot my C, click the projects link. Now maybe I want to tell them something after that on another separate page. So I could insert an explanation frame, and here I can just talk about these. The edit context link will, and I can give them an overview of that. I could go back and maybe I want to insert a frame to click on the edit text and go through the process of editing text, so I could insert additional information if I wanted to. If I get to a point where a user can go one of many ways, I could insert a decision frame. If I need to, I could delete actions, paths, and frames. And in addition to that, I have the ability to record sound as well. So here I have a fully functional sound recorder. So I can either record sound while I'm capturing my activity if I'm really talented, or I could capture my activity and then record sound for each page. And the sound recorder allows you to create, modify, import, and export sound. Now, I may also find that I want to insert some content because we have business processes that you need to do outside of the steps that you take in the system, and we want to refer you to some information. So maybe when you get to packages, or yeah, let's see, packages, and we want to talk about naming packages, so maybe we want to insert an explanation frame here and say, to name packages, please see the document on the SharePoint site. So I have the ability to link out to documents that are placed somewhere else, that are housed someplace else, or I could, if I wanted to, I could actually incorporate them into my materials. So I could either link or have the document show here, so they just click on a link. And they click on the document and it opens up in CAPA. So whatever works best for your organization. But the point here is you have the ability to add your business processes with the steps that you take in the system and any subject matter expert knowledge that you want to capture in here. So that gives you kind of a short overview of how you can create content. I'm going to go ahead and save this and show you how you can publish it as well. So I'm going to close that activity. And to publish, I go up to File, Publish. I can publish it anywhere I want. I can publish as much content as I want, so I pick and choose what content I want to publish. And then here is where I actually publish the content itself. So here I'm choosing how I want to publish it. Remember, we create the content once and then we publish it multiple ways. So I'm publishing it as the player, and that's our name for the web-based training. So it's creating the see it, the try it, the know it, the do it in the print it modes, the roles, the search capability, the interface, all of that's being created for us now. And I also said that I wanted to create this content separately as a system process document, as an instructor manual, and as PowerPoint presentation materials. So I have the ability to create this content once and then publish it any of these ways. And you'll notice here on the right, as I click on each of these boxes, I can further refine how I want to publish this content. So for instance, here we're looking at the system process output. I could have decided what text mode I wanted to publish, if I want to include screenshots, do I want this to be a Word document or a PDF or an HTML page. So I can further refine how I want that content published as I choose each of those options. So for instance, again, in the web-based training, you may find that you want to publish out only the see it and the try it mode without the assessment. Or you want the do it and the print it mode. So whatever it is that's going to work best in your environment and for your strategy of making sure you have the appropriate documentation and training and support materials for your users. So we'll give this a minute more. I'm a little surprised at how long it's taking to publish. It usually takes a lot less time. I think the fact that I'm in a VMware image and I am on live webcast is slowing it down a little bit. So there we go. All right, let's see. Here's my content. Let's take a look at what we've created. So here's the web-based training. So what we have here is the roles. So I can go in and choose my role to filter the content. I have my 2 activities. This is the activity that we just created today. In this activity, you will learn, there's my little introduction. Here's my different modes. So if we want, we can go into see it. We could go into try it. Here it is in try it. We've got our introduction, and here are the steps we took. We have the project link. We gave it some information, and then we go through each of these steps. Here's our document link. So it's created my training. I have the assessment. I have the print it mode, so here's that little job aid. I have the do it mode, so here's the little coach that will sit on top of the application and walk the user through that activity when they're in the production environment. So all of those have been created. But wait, there's more. We also created the ILT guide, so the instructor-led training guide. We have a title page. It created our table of contents. And here's our little activity. So we have a page shot and our step action table. In addition to this, we also published this content as a PowerPoint. So here is the same material in PowerPoint. So here we can see it's published each page shot and the steps we need to take for each page. And then finally, one document I hadn't shown you was the process document. So here's the content in a different format. If you need to have business process or system process documentation for each activity that you do in the system, here's a format that you can publish out as well. It has all your metadata for what this document is all about, who owns it, when it was revised, and then it walks through this particular process. So it's different than the training guide. The training guide is going to have multiple activities in it. It's going to be all encompassing. These are document by document. If you have any legislative or any other requirements to have system process documentation, you can do that as well. So that gives you a look at how you can create content and then also publish it. I'm going to go back to my presentation and share just a few more slides with you. This slide here talks about how you can eliminate the time it takes to create content using CAPA. On the left side, it shows you all the different types of content we talked about today, so simulations, training manuals, job aids, assessments, the in-application live help, and then typical tools for developing that content. How would you develop that content today in different tools, and how long it would take you to create a 15-step process in each of those tools, and then how long it would take for CAPA. So if you created that content once, you may want to modify it a little bit for your assessment, but other than that, you're publishing out all your content as is. So it shows you how you can save time from a content development perspective. So to kind of summarize some of the benefits of Capture, it allows you to capture your knowledge and drive product adoption. So you have your process, your system processes, your business processes, and your SME knowledge all captured in one content development platform that allows you to publish out both your readiness training and your production support tools in one effort. They can be role-based, and that includes an application help module, which we call the application coach, that hovers over the production environment, and that this can all help you reduce your time to create and maintain that content as you move forward. Now, if you need some help developing content, we can help you with that. We have content developers who are skilled using CAPA, and they can come in and help you build any content that you need, and we can do that a couple of ways. Some customers say, come in and give us a jump start, stay for a couple of days a week, and we'll take it from there. Some customers say, sit side by side our trained Kappa developer and help them out for a couple weeks. And some customers say, build all our content and we'll take it over when you're done. So whatever works best for your organization. All right, so that's what I had to share with you today. Maybe this might be a good time for us to open up the line to see if we have any questions. And also, let me go back and see if there are any questions in the live meeting. I can find where that is. So, Suzette, would you mind opening up the lines to see if we have any questions?
At this time, if you would like to ask a question, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. Again, to ask a question, please press star 1.
And let me take a look. I'm not sure I can do this without stopping sharing to see if there's any questions. Okay, I'll wait to see if Suzette has any questions for us.
We do have an audio question from Scott Pickering.
Great.
Yes.
Scott, what's your question?
You can hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. My question is, I like what I'm seeing, and there's some people that in my company that weren't able to watch this that I would like to see it. Is this presentation going to be available and via a recording that I can share within my company?
Mary, are you with us?
Yes, the presentation is being recorded and it will be uploaded to the Webcast archive, which is in the message board for the community.
Awesome. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1. There are no further questions. Thank you.
Okay, great. I have 2 questions online, actually 3. The first one is, what content is available out of the box for Harvest? And unfortunately, the answer right now is that we don't have any out-of-the-box content for Harvest. I apologize for that, but we have built content for a number of products at CA, and unfortunately, Harvest hasn't made it on the list yet, but all that content can be built. The second question I have is, I joined late. Can we use this tool to develop training for other applications as well? And then he goes on to say, or just for the Harvest tool. The answer to the question is, you can use this tool to create any content for any CA applications that you have. We are contractually, we're licensed to allow you to use it for any CA products and any products that integrate with CA products. So if your Harvest business process includes going into other places and doing other things, absolutely all of that can be used as well. So those were the 2 questions I see there. I think that's all the questions we have for now. Are there any other, let's see, I think maybe we're done for now. Maybe I should turn things over to Rose to go into the next part of our meeting.
Okay, thanks, Melissa. Could you send the presenter option over to me? Terrific, thank you. Thanks very much. So what I wanted to do while everyone was on the line, I'm just going to switch over to a short little PowerPoint that I put together. Unfortunately, I was not able to put these up as poll questions, and I'm not sure, Mary, if the audience has the ability to raise hands in the WebEx. Do you know if the attendees would have that capability?
I believe they do. There's a feedback link on the right side under participants, I believe.
Okay. All right, so I have just 4 questions, and what I'd like to do is I'd like to try to go through them very, very quickly. And if the participants wouldn't mind, through a show of hands, As Mary has indicated, on the right-hand side under the participants, there's a little hand there. If you could raise your hand if the option applies to you. We'll go through these, and then maybe what we can do is I'll work with our new president, Dave, to put these up at the landing page for the community as well, so we can continue to get your feedback on how you are progressing with your training for Harvest. Okay, so the first question I have there is, how do you provide training for Harvest currently? The first selection is that the administrator usually provides training. So if through a show of hands you could tell me, you could respond to that. Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I see 4 hands on that one. Okay, clear your selection, folks who raised your hands. And how about option B? We have in-house training. We have an area that provides this type of training periodically, and Harvest is included in that. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, it looks like we had 6 on option B. And then we send resources to training offered by CA Technologies. Option C, how many folks send folks to training for CA? I see 1. Okay. Option D, we don't offer any training other than on the job. People learn as they go. I see 1. Okay. And then option E, none of the above. I haven't presented you with an option that's appropriate. Okay, I see none. Very good. Let's move on to the second question. Okay, in your opinion, what would be the most effective way to train your Harvest users, not administrators, the actual developers? So A would be to offer in-house training. Do you feel that would be the best way to do it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of hands go up. 7, 8. Okay, it looks like it's 8. Okay. How about option B? Send folks to a CA Technologies training course. Okay, I see no responses. Option C, hands-on, interactive, such as Kappa, what we've seen today. In my opinion, or in your opinion, you feel as though that would be the most effective way to train your users. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still 5? We're still holding at 5. Okay. And how about none of the above? Okay, very good. None. Okay. Just a couple more, guys. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Simple yes or no questions. In your opinion, do you feel your new hire developers struggle with adopting Harvest because of lack of training? Yes? Show of hands. Yes, you feel they struggle because they don't understand the product, they're not trained on the product. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. Looks like we have 7. Okay. How about no for question 3? You don't feel as though that it's a lack of training issue. 1, 2. Okay, and then the third option is you're not sure. Could go either way. Okay, 1, 2, 2. Okay, and then my last question, in your opinion, do you feel the Harvest users and administrators would be more productive if they had access to on-demand training? So something similar to CAPA, where they could refresh themselves when they wanted to. And the first response would be a yes response. So show of hands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And very good. And those of you who feel as though that would not be, they would not be more productive if they had access to on-demand training. Do we have any no's? 0 on the no, and the last option C, not sure. And we have 0 on option C. Excellent. Thanks so much. One more thing before I let you go. I wanted to make the community folks and everyone attending this meeting live today aware that we are going to be relaunching the Ideation Tool at the CA Harvest SCM Global User Community. Please encourage your colleagues and any of your users to join the community, because we're going to be managing all of our enhancement requests at the user community in the ideation system. This was launched a number of years ago, and we sort of let it lapse as the product had switched hands with various product managers. But I'd like to relaunch this with my product owner, Pete McCullough, and we'll start managing this going forward. This will allow you to post, discuss, vote on, and follow progress on an idea, or an idea also known as an enhancement request. So we'll let you know when that happens. Check the message board for details. I'll be working with Dave, your user community president, to work out the details on that and make sure that we come up with the best way to keep you informed on that progress. And we look forward to having you engage with us on that. Okay, so that is all I had. If anyone has any questions, we could take one more check. Suzette, if you don't mind.
We have a follow-up question from Scott Pickering.
Hi, Scott.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I had to come off mute. Excuse me. You mentioned the using CAPA training with anything that's related to Harvest. So as an example, if we had purchased OpenMcMeister through you guys, that we could use it for Meister training as well? Is that what did I understand that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions?
And there are no further questions. Thank you.
Melissa, there was another question from Tony Brown. What is the cost associated with this product?
Yes, and I did answer him privately, but I'm also happy to share that with the group. There's a couple of components. One is the developer itself. That list price at $12,500. There's also a user license. That lists at $50 a user, and there's a class. There's a couple of ways to take the class. We can do it on site. That is $14,500. Or you can do it virtually. That's $3,650. CAPA also has documentation. When you install it, you'll get the documentation, and there's help. So the help for CAPA, when you click on the help button in CAPA, is in CAPA. So there's CAPA help for CAPA. So if you want to learn that way, if that's the way you learn best, instead of taking the class, you can certainly do that through the help or through the documentation. And then there's a maintenance fee, 20% on the developer and the users. that's it. Anything else, Mary?
No, I think that's it. Oh, no, check the Q&A, please.
Okay, I guess we've got a couple more questions, so let me see which ones are new. Are there any plans for CA to roll out the prepackaged self-paced training? We don't have any plans right now to create that content. From a funding perspective, we don't have the funding to do it. That's our major obstacle right now. So we're trying to work through that, but we don't have anything on the roadmap at this point. The next question is, hello. Is it possible to have these webcasts in another language, in Spanish?
I don't see, there are no plans for that that I know of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Let's see, I think this goes with another question. Whoops, where did I go? Oops. I think that may be all that we have.
Yeah, I think that's it for the Q&A. I've launched the poll, so if everybody could evaluate this webcast, please. It's on the right side. And I think that wraps it up. Ken, are you still on the line? Is there anything that you'd like to add as a user of this product?
Ken, are you on mute?
Okay. Well, if there's nothing further, if you could just answer the poll, and we'll see you next quarter for the next webcast. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Melissa and Rose, for presenting.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect.